Hi everybody, this is TJ. I want to welcome our new members to Trend Jumper. I'm going to do a walkthrough of some of our current videos with MT4, and I want to talk to you about some of the things that I consider when I'm placing trades. I'm going to show you the way I use the Trend Jumper to swing trade Forex. I personally use TradeStation charts and place my trades on MT4. I use a Wanda, I use the MyFX interface straight through MT4. I'm not using MT4 charting, but that's because I prefer TradeStation. Some of you prefer MT4. It's definitely a good option. It's a lower cost option, but the trades are good. From what I can see, they're excellent and sometimes even better than what TradeStation is producing. Sometimes not. Nothing's perfect. You have to realize every broker makes his own market. So this trade just triggered in the other day, the Aussie yen. It's a carry trade, right? And when you click on the entry, you could hold the Alt key down. Let me take that back. You click on the entry, push on the Alt key, and so now when I move my mouse around, the trade is frozen in the data window. Okay, maybe you didn't know that. That makes it easy to see the trade. Here's the entry, 96.405. Again, I'm going to tell you the way I personally use Trend Jumper and trade Forex. You may decide to do it a different way. What I like to do is use that fifth digit. In this case, it's the third digit over on the right side of the decimal, and I round it up. So I'm going to look at this as a 96.41 entry. And then I'm going to add a few pips of spread. Whatever Wanda is offering at the time, usually it's around 3 pips, that's what I'm going to add. So I can go into this trade, placing my order to go long at 96.44. Another thing I like to do, though, is round up a little further. And especially when I got the big 0.50 right above me. For me to place this trade, I'm actually going to place this trade at 96.52. And then I'm going to add the spread on top of that. So I'm really getting it at 96.54. Why do I add a little extra? Well, I have found that that's kept me out of a few trades that just barely would have ticked in and then went the other direction. Like I said, nothing's perfect. That's going to happen every now and then. And I like to get around key levels. In my opinion, there's enough on this trade to give up a little extra on the entry to give you a little bit extra confirmation. It won't always work, but sometimes it will. So I estimate this trade made about 117 pips to the third target. Now, if you're setting up the calculator for the first time, once you get your indicators put on your chart, you want to open up your indicator list, open up to edit the PTU Trend Jumper. Okay, notice I have 2 jump lines on here. One of them set to 9 and green. One of them is set to 4, a pale pink. I like to use the same colors all the time. I also have 2 moving averages. One is set to 50, the yellow one, and the magenta one is set to 200. Now with the calculator, you want to open it up. Make sure that you've got your entry offset set to 20. That's a 2 pip breakout. Okay, I set it to 2 pips because then I'm going to manually push it up past the 5 or 0 and then add my spread. And then the stop is 1 pip beyond the other side of the setup bar. I'm also going to look to adjust this around an indicator. If it's right near the jump line or an EMA, I'll adjust below, or I'll adjust below a nearby swing level. On this particular trade, it's not near an indicator or a swing level, so I'm just going to leave it alone. But if this setup bar was down in here, I would adjust my stop a little bit below the jump line. The other thing I did was I changed, well, this is probably default for you, but you want to double check. I've got my EMA, my island ticks and my proximity ticks set to 200. Okay, so that's really 20 pips, right? And that gives me a lot more setups. Now you could play with these numbers. You could see what it looks like if you set these to 100 or 60 or 20. I would play with these and look at your charts. See if you like a different setting. The 200 setting is what I've been using all along on every single chart, and I've just left it like that. I've been content with my results. That doesn't mean you have to. I've barely scratched the surface on the potential of how you could use the trend jumper. I think what's really important is that you learn the strategy, learn how it works, learn why it works, and follow the steps to success guide that you'll find on the Owners Club. You really need to be a student of the strategy so you understand how and why it works. It's a marvelous strategy. It makes a lot of money on a lot of different markets, but only if you really learn it and understand it. You could just follow the dots and trade it blind, but you're going to find a lot more opportunities. You're going to soon learn the trades that have the highest odds versus those that maybe the odds aren't quite so good, and that's going to make you a better trader. But give yourself time, learn the system step by step, and for sure, 6 months from now, it's just logical and common sense that you're going to be better at it than you are, say, 6 weeks from now. Okay, the more you use it, the better you're going to be, and I think that's just logical. Give yourself a chance. Make sure you put on very small risk, and again, follow the success guide. Once you've done this, close your calculator, and then right-click on your chart, and save it as a template. Okay, I just called it Trend Jumper Default. And then with every new chart you add, you can just load up the Trend Jumper Default template, and all your settings will be correct, all your indicators will be correct. You'll be good to go. Alright, so I'm going to show you the trade plan that I want you to focus on, but before we go on, I thought it would be helpful to give you a quick look at the Owners Club. You've either received your package already, or you will be shortly, and you will find the video training and everything you need to get started with Trend Jumper. But you could also jump onto the Owners Club and download the indicators. You could download your indicators by going to the MetaTrader Setup tab, and then there you will find the instructions. Okay? You also want to click on the Training tab and go through the material. You're going to find a lot of good stuff in here, including your boot camp bonuses. This is really good training. You're also going to find a PDF file that explains the Trend Jumper rules. Right here, Trend Jumper Rules and Trade Plans Overview. And even if a lot of these videos are for futures day trades, you should still go through them because you're going to learn the strategy. Okay? Now, as far as what we're doing here with swing trading, well, you'll find a cheat sheet and the step-by-step guide to trading success, and I recommend that you all go through this too. The traders that follow this guide tend to be the ones that succeed the most. Okay? Now, on the trade plans page, you're going to find the swing trade plan that I'm personally using with Trend Jumper. It's down at the bottom, Trend Jumper Forex Swing Trade Plan. And you're going to find a PDF file that's going to explain the plan that I'm using. Now, you don't have to trade my plan. You can come up with your own. You can trade it a variety of ways. Trend Jumper is very forgiving. But I recommend you start at least with mine, and then from there, you can always modify it once you've learned the strategy. You may decide you don't want to. Alright, so back to the chart. This is a primary trade. If I get another setup to go long, then that will be an add-on trade. And I'll take up to 3 add-ons, and I'll manage each one according to the trade plan. A little bit differently. I'm a little more aggressive with my stops, or I should say more conservative. I'm trying to get to a risk-free position quicker with my add-on trades. And on the third add-on, which would be my 4th live trade, I only take it as a single position. Okay, so we'll see what happens. Once the market closes today, I'll be moving my stop up and following the jump line. So the stop's going to move up to here. Okay, the first position came off here with 117 pips, give or take. And then I'll trail my second position here. A lot of you might want to take profits at the first target and the second target, the third target, and then trail the jump line. And I've even heard of traders that will trail the faster confirmation line on a runaway market like this. Because why risk this coming all the way back down to here and stopping out? So only you can decide the best way to manage your positions. But it's important to at least have a frame of reference and to know the basic plan. And then from there you can make decisions, because these setups are dynamic. And the bigger trades, it makes sense to peel off at different target levels. All right, there's some really good trades happening right now. I am personally in 22 live positions, and the cumulative value, well, let's just say I am up 2,330 pips in open trade value just since last week alone. And that's not counting the trades that came off at full target with booked profits already. Those are just open positions. A few positions are a little bit underwater, but a majority of them are very profitable. So I thought it would be helpful just to look at a few trades here, give you a good sense of what the trend jumper looks like, and then invite you all into the live trade room where you can ask your questions. I'm happy to pull up charts. We can look at MT4 swing trade charts when we're in between or finished with our day trading, and we can go through any questions you have. I think that's the best way for you to learn the system, is hands-on and being able to ask me live questions. So please take advantage of that. All right, so let's look at this. We have a short on the pound Aussie. Now back here we had a short, right? I would consider this a primary trade, and the reason why is because this earlier trade finished when it stabbed up above the jump line that took out the trailer. And then the very bar that did that gave us a new setup. This is a jump trade. Okay? This first trade is a crossover trade. This is a jump trade. You'll learn that when you learn the strategy. Okay, the stop is up here and it held. It came down and it hit the first target. At this point, I'm going to move my stop to the trail, the green dotted line, the jump line. So I'm not eliminating risk, but I am reducing risk. Okay, it has since come down and touched the second target. At this point, I'm for sure going to lock in a pip or so to make it a risk-free trade, or I'm going to trail the jump line, whichever gives me the tightest stop. So when this bar closes, the stop's going to move down to here for this first position. Now there's also an add-on position. This one just got filled a couple days ago, well, I guess 4 days ago, right here. Okay? And that's a crossover trade. You should recognize that because the confirmation line is crossing over the jump line, and you'll learn that. This one is almost touching its first target. In fact, if we look at the data window, we can see that the first target is at 45.01, and the low of this bar here is 45.10. So it is literally 9 pips shy of hitting the first target. Now the trade plan says for an add-on trade that we're going to treat the first position like the first trade, except that when we get to the first target, we're going to use the JL4, which is the confirmation line, to guide our stop. Once it gets to the third target, we're then going to relax our stop back around the jump line to give that trade a chance to really take off. But for now, we're going to be a little more aggressive with our trade management. The thing is, it just missed the first target. So if I cheat a little, I would move my stop down and work around the last bar to close below the confirmation line, and then give this a chance to actually work its way down. Or I could just leave my stop in its original position. If I move my stop prematurely, there is a chance I'll get stopped out, and then the trade will proceed to full target while I'm out of the trade too soon. And I've seen that happen. So only you can decide if you're going to be more aggressive and cheat a little or not. The more you use the trend jumper, remember, the better you're going to get at it. So don't expect to be perfect right out the gate. I think if you're testing and trying to keep accurate results, you try to stay as close to the plan as possible. I don't mind compromising a little bit when it just barely misses the target. Maybe you've earned the right to reduce a little bit of risk from this stop down to here. Okay, just realize that the consequence could be you get prematurely stopped out and then miss the move. So I'll let you decide the best way to handle that. For me, I would just leave the stop right here where it is and follow the plan. Okay? Now, I'm not going to tell you the steps of the plan because I want you to actually go into the trade plan document, print it out, have it in front of you, and refer to it with each trade decision that you make. And like this, you will learn the strategy that I use. When you get better at Trend Jumper and you understand how and why it works, you'll learn how to change some settings in your calculator to open up new opportunities or more opportunities, or maybe even fewer opportunities. You may prefer that. You'll be in a better position to make those decisions. For now, the trade plan that I'm using is working great. So this is an open trade, currently very profitable. The jury's still out. We don't know how it's going to end up. I showed you some of these US Canadian trades on TradeStation. I only had one good trade. On MetaTrader, you had one good trade. You had an add-on trade here, a second add-on trade here, and then a third add-on trade here. Now, what am I going to do with this trade? I'm not going to take it. I don't take fourth add-on trades. With this third one, it's really a fourth open position. I would only take it with one position, and I would be very conservative with it. It has not gotten any traction yet. The stop is still down here. This position is still at its full risk. The other three positions have all hit their targets, and they all came off underneath the jump line right here based on the last bar to close above the jump line, this one. So 2 pips below, and then adjusting, like I told you, around the nearest 5 or 0. Right here it came off. So a couple days ago, the trailers on these 3 positions would have come off. This one position here is still on, but it's a half position because it's the third add-on. Now remember when I said about making adjustments around 5s and 0s? While this trade would not have counted because it would have been a fourth add-on, it's a great example of what I'm talking about. If you look at the entry is at 1.0308. So I'm instantly going to go from 08, I'm going to add my spread. But I'm actually going to go from 08 up to 11, and then I'm going to add my spread. And I'm probably going to put it up over 16. So I'm going to be putting this in at 1.03166, and I'm even going to push it up with that 5th digit another 0.6 of a pip. That's how I do it. This got up to 1.03087. So even if you just put your entry in at above 11, it would have kept you out of the trade. I went a little further, or I would have gone a little further, but you see how this would have barely ticked in and then stopped out? That's why, and this has to do sometimes with spread and different quotes, because these trades are big enough, I move the entries and I move the entries and stops a little bit beyond, like I said, like I've been talking about. Okay, so hopefully you understand what I mean. Now again, this is a trade that wouldn't have taken place anyway, but I do want to show you that occasionally you can get ticked in and stopped out, but if you add a little extra to your entry, you will avoid some of those. Not all of them, but some, and that can make a big difference. Luckily, this is pretty rare. You're going to get a lot of trades that are huge like this, and they're going to more than offset any particular trade that you might happen to lose on. That's what my experience has been. All right, I want to look at the Euro USD. Here's a case where it triggered in, it came down, and it hit the first target. And look at how the 50 EMA put up a fight. You're going to find that when it hits these EMAs, that's what's going to stall the progression of your trade. It also happened down here in the 200 EMA. See how the price is kind of stuck on that for a while? That's very normal. You're going to start learning to see the charts differently and paying attention to the EMAs in relationship to price. Now on TradeStation, this was a full target and it's still trailing down. On MT4, it came back up and actually would have taken out the stop right up here above the jump line if you're following the trade plan. It's just the way it is sometimes. Now you could have taken a partial profit at the first target, and that's one of the reasons why I like peeling off positions at each target level. There was another setup here. This one got short, and it's got to work through the 200 EMA. Hopefully we'll see it come down. This one here looks like it triggered in, but it actually didn't because it closed above the 200 EMA. Now later when you get more advanced, you might decide to adopt a nuanced trade rule where you might have kept this trade on and still taken it here. But for now, I want you just to focus on the basic plan and the basic rules of trend jumper. Okay, you can learn in more advanced stuff as you go and as you become more proficient with the strategy. All right, here's another really great example of what I'm talking about. This latest setup on the US yen. Notice the entry is at 96.196. I'm going to push that up to 96.21. And then I'm going to add spread on top of that. In fact, I'm going to push this up to 96.26. And I'm going to put my order in at 96.266. Okay? Look at how this high stabbed up right here. And it got as high as 96.194. So even if you just went to 21 and then added spread on top of that, that would have been enough to not get in the trade and then stopped out here. See? This is still flat. The entry hasn't been hit. And the trade hasn't canceled. It worked through some noise here before it came up and actually triggered in on this bar and then came all the way up and almost hit its full target. It just missed it. Okay? And the full target is at 96.36. This last bar got as high as 96.359. It missed by 1/10 of 1 pip. Now you could be peeling off profit here, here, and here, but the way I'm trading it is I'm just going to the third target with half my position and then trailing the second half. But now that I've made it past that second target, my stop is already here, locking in a pip. And on this chart, it would have stopped out because this came down and would have taken me out. So when you come really close to full target, and actually this bar here missed the full target by only 3/10 of 1 pip. When I see that, I'm going to be very proactive and I'm going to look to trade for profit. I'm not going to let my full position come all the way down and stop me out. My trailer probably would have been stopped out here. It would have been. But my primary position, the first half of my position, I would have been taking profit somewhere in here. Now, if I notice that it already came up to here and then came down to here and closed here, and this is where I'm looking at it, and I miss this move, I mean, you know, you just have to roll with the punches. You have to trade for profit somehow. You definitely don't want it to come all the way down and stop you out. You may want to take some of your profit here. What you could do also is figure out a way to set alerts so that when the price gets to a certain level, you are alerted. You get a text message on your cell phone or something like that. Now, I use TradeStation to do that with horizontal lines. I could put an alert and have it text message my cell phone or send me an email. That's how I handle that. I honestly don't know if there's a way or how to do it with MT4. There probably is. I'm just not an MT4 expert. Alright, so I think I've given you a lot to go on for now. That's what's been going on. There are a lot of other trades that are currently in play right now. The pound yen, the New Zealand yen, the pound dollar, the euro yen, the New Zealand US dollar, the Aussie Swiss. Lots of trades happening right now, but I think that's enough for one video. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned a little bit more about Trend Jumper. This is TJ. Hopefully I'll see you in the live trade room soon.